All right then, Jonathan David, he's a big boy, serious striker, right?
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Some ASMR of me slurping my coffee there. What's happening, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. Hope you're doing well. Genuinely do hope that, yes, David Ornstein. When Ornstein speaks, the people listen. The big man, the serious person, has said Chelsea are looking at Jonathan David and have actually held talks with his representatives, which lots of people would be happy about. In the Times, we are looking at 18-year-old Academy Villa strikers John Duran, Samu Amuradorian. I think I said that right. Lots of different, lower profile players. Everyone knows Jonathan David, if it's provided you watch some football outside the Premier League. Look, you think of Canada, the Canada national team, you think Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David. Two young, high-level players. And David, being linked to Chelsea, is a big boy striker, like I said, in terms of he's been around for a while. This hat, I can never make this hat work. I think since I cut my hair, like, the pressure of hats hurt my head more because I don't have the hair to, like, cushion me. Interesting stuff. Anyway, today we'll go through Orney's article about David. I'm going to share the stats with you because you guys find that fun, so we're going to do a bit of that. We're also going to talk about left winger. Ooh, because apparently Chelsea are looking for a left winger now. So strap yourselves in. Bang! Thank you for supporting the content as always. If you want to support it, it's easy. You just like the video. Maybe do a share if people share YouTube videos still. Thank you for subscribing. We are genuinely climbing up the subscriber tree now. So thank you. If you want to subscribe, no pressure. Only if you dig. If you find yourself coming back, right? If you find yourself coming back, then you might as well just subscribe, G. Hit the bell. Hit the bell. Fabrizio Romano, firstly, confirming that Chelsea are looking at a left winger now, as opposed to the right winger. Well, of course, we know we're looking at Nico Williams for a while, but his wage demands were just too much, and that's fine, by the way. Bringing in young players that just immediately demand a lot of wages when you are in a transitional phase of your project, like I've said recently, isn't necessarily the way. And before you know it, if you keep doing like the Man United thing, big names and big wages, you end up run like an absolute horror show. So, don't do it. But, yes, I wonder, now, we're not going for a right winger. I wonder if we'll think, okay, let's see if we will play Cole a little bit more as a right winger. Because Cole himself, when he arrived, said, yeah, I play on the right wing, but I like to play a little bit inside as well. When we, were looking at these, we were thinking, well, Cole's going to be moved inside because you have to start both. But, Noni Madueke is a strong player with a scope for improvement. But I do wonder if there'll be games where Cole Palmer is operating on the right. You play, I don't know, a Christopher Nkunku. Who knows? Like, someone like a Kani Chukwuemeka could really surprise us if he doesn't go on loan. We don't know what's happening with Gallagher, etc., etc. We've got options in the middle. And then left wing. Like, we've Sterling and Mudryk, right? Let's just spend a little bit of time quickly on this. I've been very vocal. I think Sterling would benefit from the football of Enzo Maresca. I'm not saying he's going to be like a wicked success, but, out of all the managers and coaches at Chelsea since Sterling arrived, I feel like Maresca could be the most appropriate to get the most out of him. And that needs to be a little bit of humility from Sterling as well. Like, all right, I can't be this, like, Flair, Eden Hazard replacement that I thought I could be, like, that plays hero ball at Chelsea in their transitional period. I'm not that guy, and in fact, it's been a really rough couple of years for me in terms of football. I feel like worse than I did at the end of Man City. So, if I've got this new type of football that's a bit closer to the 2018 Guardiola ball where I did so well, that's probably a good thing for me. And I'm speculating, of course, here, but I do think there's a degree of that. And then, of course, Mudryk. Mudryk is sort of lying in that sort of same space of demonstrating immense raw ability and flashes, and this is for Ukraine at the moment, and then doing like shots that clear the stadium rather than actually in the goal. So we're all sort of hoping for the best with Mudryk. I do wonder if this is a really important season for Mykhailo Mudryk. But is he going to be a starter? I don't know. I mean, both of them are maybes, aren't they? So I wonder if Chelsea are looking at a left winger that's going to be no, you're in, mate. You know, you're technically going to suit the style. You're not a confidence player. You're not like, you know, just whatever. We'll see what happens, but it does make you think, could we be going into next season with 3 left wingers in terms of Mudryk, Sterling, and indeed a new person? But I wanted to just report on that here or reflect on the news. I want you to comment down below who you think would be a realistic acquisition at left wing and who would make the most sense. And should we do that? Because apparently we're going for a winger and a striker still in terms of the attack. And apparently now it's a left winger, which is fine. But what about striker? Well, it's time to talk about JD. So yes, Big Orny, the one. Like, he's the authority really on especially Premier League transfers. Wrote this yesterday. Chelsea have held talks. The talks have been held with the representatives of Lille striker Jonathan David about a potential summer transfer. So he's 24. Off the bat, he's under 25, so I know we've broken that 25 or under rule, but he's not a child. He's not an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old or a 16-year-old from South America. This is a 24-year-old international, a Canada international. That's a high-profile player that's been banging goals in a top 5 league for a few seasons now. I'm just going to clear my throat, so I'm going to pause the recording. Right, the throat has been clarified, and I've downed my coffee, and I'm back! Yes, the striker, Jonathan David. So yeah, he's a high-profile dude. He's among the options that Stamford Bridge are looking at to strengthen their attack of the header next season, considering that David has 12 months left on his contract, and Lille president Olivier Letton recently gave his public blessing to a move in the current market. The forward is expected to be available for a reasonable price. I mean, this sounds pretty good. Like, I've definitely done videos on Jonathan David before in the previous years. We'll talk about could he fit in just a moment, but let's just read the rest of this. Chelsea are yet to approach the French side that have a good relationship with Letton, by virtue of also following fellow Ligue 1 team Strasbourg via their Blueco consortium, of course. David joined Lille from Belgian side Ghent 4 years ago in a record deal for the French club. He's gone on to register 84 goals in 183 matches, which, by the way, is very good. It's the basis for nearly a goal every other game for Lille, and, you know, he was a young player early doors as well. So that's 0.46 goals per game, considering as a young player coming in and sort of picked up form since. To rank him third on Lille's all-time scoring list and the highest of the 21st century. A regular, missing just 3 matches in 4 seasons, David was also a key part of Lille's side that won Ligue 1 title. This is a league-winning striker, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, as well as the Trophée des Champions in 2021. He played every league game last campaign, scoring 19 goals, including against PSG, Marseille and Lyon, high-profile opposition, to help Lille get a Champions League qualification finish. Sounds pretty good. So let's have a look at his stats, and then we'll talk about profile and how we feel about this guy. So whoscored.com, let's have a look here. Last campaign, like we've seen, he got 19 goals and 4 assists. So that is 23 goal involvements in 30 appearances. 23 goal involvements in 2,600 minutes. It's an elite return. His pass percentage is okay at 82.7, but not amazing. I got 3 man of the match awards, which is fine for a striker, but, you know, maybe I don't know, you'd want a bit more. But look, the season before, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, 24 league goals, which is incroyable, and 4 assists as well. So this guy is a goal scorer. He's he had a bigger shot volume the season before there. I mean, even then, when he was a lot younger, you know, in the 21-22 season, he still got 15 goals. And he still got 13 goals in the season before that. So he's always in double digits, despite being a very young striker. And he looks very, very good. So just transfer marked for reference here as well. Of course, he's got 12 months left on his deal. It says he's worth 50 million euros. which I believe is less than that. It'll be, I do have a feeling it will go less for that. Obviously, he's very much a striker. It says you can play second striker and attacking midfield, but you're very much buying him for a centre forward. Now, look at this. He's 2-footed. That's really good for a striker. His shooting metrics are strong. We'll just look at that in a moment. A 2-footed elite striker that's under 25, that's scored double digits in a top 5 league for like consecutive years. And he's from New York. Oh, that's for his place of birth. He's Canada, of course. Right, let's have a look at his not understat, his X value page. Look at that heat map, bro. On the right hand side there, he is all over the gaff. Now, interestingly, I did look at his understat comparison with Nico Jackson, and he was only better at goal scoring than Nico Jackson, which you might think, well, that's what we want him for, but it really does show Jackson in a positive light. And by the way, just quickly while I'm thinking about this, that's fine, that's good. Nicolas Jackson is a wicked footballer. And, you know, Pochettino got laughed at when he says, I think he can be one of the best strikers in Europe. That's still like an opinion for a lot of people. And he's 22 years old. He's 12, 23 years old. He's like a year younger than Jonathan David Jackson. It's great that we've got him. Like, he might keep getting better and better and better and be Chelsea's first choice striker. And there's no reason to be upset or offended by that. That Jackson plays really well and does really well for Chelsea. But we're still short. We're in Europe now. You know, we were short anyway last season without Europe because he just played. It was good for him ultimately that he got so many games, Jackson. But the games when he needed someone nipping at his heels and like another player to keep pushing him. This could be that guy, Jonathan David. So let's have a look. Here we go. I want to have a quick look in the season before actually, because that's when he scored a lot of goals. As you can see, he gets a lot of assists as well. He's not great at aerials, which is interesting because we've been looking at strikers that are really good in the air, like Duran, Seshko, etc. Let's just go back to this firstly. Let's look at stats and trend. Direct goal involvement per 90, 0.78. That's very strong, and this is last season as well. His pass success isn't great, but he's playing for Lille. Let's going to look at his advanced stats here. So yeah, look, man, he's in the 98th percentile for non-penalty XG, which means he's a proper finisher. He's a striker. Do you know what I mean? You can see he's a mobile finisher. Well, we saw that with his heat map. He's all over the gaff. I just want to have a look at the season. Obviously, last season was very strong, but the season before that was incredibly strong. 98th percentile of expected goals like that. Let me just quickly see his stats and trend as well on the previous season. Yeah, direct goal involvement 0. Oh no, I need to go back season there. Excuse me, I am just changing it over there. Okay, yes, it's still just 0.78. Last 2 seasons has been very strong in terms of goal scoring. Now, many of you might think, is this the profile? Does it? For me, it makes me feel like it's not necessarily linking up with the other targets, but I like it. Do you know what I mean? For those people that are moaning that Chelsea are only going for these like football hipster South American players that no one's heard of, and they're, you know, although I think it's cool to excuse me, I think it's cool to a degree to do the money ball model because I think it's just like, I don't know, it's just more interesting rather than doing essentially the antithesis of that is what Manchester United have done for the last decade. Oh god, let's just sign Depay because he looks good. Let's just sign Alexis Sanchez from Arsenal. Oh, let's just sign Angel Di Maria. Falcao, should we get Falcao? Even like lately, sorry for swearing. Even like lately, Casemiro and Varane. Do you know what I mean? Like, just grab them. Do you know what I mean? Because they're high profile players. It just doesn't work often, and then you get them silly wages. So the opposite of that is this kind of like interesting money ball model, but it gets jarring, it gets nauseating after a while because you were still Chelsea, and even if you're interested that we're finding high value in, I don't know, Malo Gusto, Cole Palmer, you know, the aforementioned Nicolas Jackson, and Noni Madueke under £30 million for this like kid playing for PSV. Do you know what I mean? It's cool. It's genuinely cool, and I really like it. But you still need to bring in Anin Kunku, you know, Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo. I know Caicedo is not much of a star, but he was a high-profile player in terms of being desired. And yes, obviously we've lent a little bit back into like the Paezes, the Estevals, and you know, this kid from Villa, and we're probably twitching a little bit as Chelsea fans. All right, can we have a big name now? Now, look, Jonathan David, he's not like as of a high-profile player as when Romelu Lukaku was when we bought him. But look how that turned out, you know? He's got 12 months left on his deal, Jonathan David. His wages would be reasonable. He's under 25, and he's been consistently scoring goals. So on paper, that's all good. But it has to come to, but we have to lean a little bit back into that Moneyball model and go, right, but your whole ethos here is finding players that suit certain profiles, that suit the plan. Is that Jonathan David, or are you just sort of freaking out and saying, it's a goal scorer, you know, good value goal scorer? Why isn't no one else trying to buy Jonathan David? Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of players like that. It's like Hakim Ziyech. I use that example sometimes. Like Ziyech was 3 years in a row Ajax's best player in terms of winning the awards in a very impressive Ajax generation as well, like a sort of recent young golden generation. But no one was taking a chance on Hakim Ziyech until we bought him. And it's sort of like, why is no one, if he's really good and keeps consistently being good, why is no one buying him? Is there like a worrying element to his profile? Apparently there was an attitude thing with Ziyech, but we never saw that. It's just sort of didn't work out for a multitude of reasons, kinda. But it makes you feel like, why is no one really taking a chance on Jonathan David? But I feel like there will be suitors. You know, I always thought he was going to be destined to like a PSG. Do you know what I mean? But they've signed Kolo Muani and Gonzalo Ramos and stuff. So they've signed expensive, high-profile young strikers. But yeah, he always seemed like he was destined to a PSG or something. But I don't know, man. It could be great. My like gut reaction is excitement, but like I said, if it's just a sort of like panic buy, then no. But what do you think, guys? As always, put it out to you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I want to hear what you think about Jonathan David potentially coming to Chelsea and having already spoken to Chelsea, or we've spoken to his representatives. So let me know in the comments. Keep it locked. Turn the bell on because I'll be back very soon to react to all stories. Peace.